Velkommen så masse til boklansering av Karen O'Briens nye bok You Matter More Than You Think, Quantum Social Change for a Thriving World. Jeg føler meg veldig takknemlig for at det er så mange folk her, og så mange mennesker samlet i et rom da, som virkelig bryr seg og utforsker liksom, hvilken rolle vi egentlig har da, i de store utfordringene som vi står overfor som samfunn og som mennesker. Jeg har da gleden av å introdusere kveldens forfatter, Karen O'Brien.
This has really been a passion project of mine for over a decade. As I became very aware that we were not working to bend the curves in any rate, scale, speed, or depth that was called for in order to meet the challenge of climate change as well as biodiversity loss. And what if we actually took social change seriously and took it seriously from a different perspective? How do we actually go beyond just looking out there for the solutions and telling people that you must change in the name of climate change? And how do we look at our sense of mind, meaning, and matter and our relationship to ourselves, to each other, to nature, not the least to change itself? So for me, it was really important to start to weave in climate change into this story of what quantum social change could be. What do we do right here and right now that matters? And the point of this book is that we matter more than we think. So thank you very much, and I look forward to the conversation.
We're delighted to welcome on stage. We've got Lisa Cooper. And Lisa's a social entrepreneur, board leader, and diversity, youth and systems change enthusiast. Tone Bjordam is the artist that drew the artwork in Karen's book. Martin is a social entrepreneur from Bergen. He's passionate about making a difference for nature, animal and human rights.
You've given us a blueprint, you've given us a framework. It's not especially the part that we all matter. I think that's so strong just to say it, you know? And I think of the kids that I work with and trying to help them realize and remember they matter. Help the mentors realize that they matter. And there's a line in the book that says, you know, we have to get people to stop looking through their beliefs because that is the lens you look at the world, right? And to look at your beliefs. And that really struck me. You know, just showing how we're sort of connected. What happens to one is affecting the other, sort of under the surface. Challenge their beliefs and seeing how we're all entangled together. And we have to build new relationships and take that agency. So
one of the conversations I get a lot when having like one-to-one with my volunteers and is that like many of them, they wonder like is it worth it? And when reading this book, I really feel that I can use this as a tool, kind of like universal values and so on, which the book has will, now that I've read it, then that will continue to grow like within the two NGOs that I run and so on, at least.
So it's been really wonderful. I'm very grateful and happy to be a part of this with my art. For me, it's important to think about that art can be a door opener into inspiration, but also into knowledge. And that in front of an artwork, people don't have to defend their opinions. They can experience the art and take that experience with them out in the world.
Turn to your neighbor, maybe someone you haven't talked to before, and share with them what resonates with you from what's been said so far.
I mean, the entire discipline is founded on
But now I'm going to ask the guests to discuss how they see scaling this up, so how the individual connects with the collective.
Issues of diversity, issues of social justice, it's all one problem. And if we take this fractal approach, you're actually creating patterns that address multiple problems, because it really is the line between us and other. For me, it's really about shifting the science community and getting science to expand into, you know, from the Enlightenment to what Andreas Weber calls the enlivenment worldview, and really thinking differently about how we relate to change itself.
Because I think that's what your book is, isn't it?
Yeah, it's recognizing
you
that
banged against, you know, the quantum physics to bring quantum social into the sphere.
Yeah, recognizing that everybody has that capacity to be a systems changer.
It was only me, kind of. And then I think, I never, like I just learned about fractals, but I think then I maybe realized that I was kind of a fractal and would love to expand that. So I wanted to start an organization that did what I did in Bergen, but just like wherever you want to do it, basically.
What's one thing you take away from this discussion, and one or two things you might do differently when you leave this room?
Things that I will do differently or like take away and so on.
Yeah.
Is kind of what you said with stories. To get more of the beautiful stories out there.
And it gives me a tool to maybe go deeper, you know, without scaring people that we're talking about quantum physics and diversity training, but to help them sort of understand how we all fit.
Yeah, so for me, this book gives me courage to go into conversations where I think that I probably don't agree with people in the first place.
One thing I want to take away is we're going to have another edition of that, I think, because people are coming up like, I didn't write a story, but I've been thinking about how do we actually activate that sense of agency for the future. And I think that it would be a really good exercise for all of us to think of, if we take our entangled future seriously, you know, what kind of stories can we tell? So.